Welcome into Sports Memo's betting podcast, NHL Tuesday night edition with our NHL expert, Andrew McInnis. Welcome in, Andrew. How you doing today?
Hey, Drew, doing very well. Just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that tuned into our Saturday night hockey edition. We recorded on a Friday night, and we got a great response. So, if I didn't answer your comment or your question or anything like that, I just wanted to say to everyone I really appreciate them tuning in, and we're going to hope to do plenty of more. So I really enjoyed doing that look-ahead video for Saturday night's card, and we had a great response. So we're going to keep doing more. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate it to the viewers.
All right, McInnis here every Monday night and Friday night going over the next day's cards. So more shelf time plus early look at some of these lines. Maybe get out in front of some of the moves. But starting off top of the card here, McInnis, we got game number 23, 24, the rotation numbers, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop, Arizona at Toronto, and not seeing a line across the board here. So not sure if you know what's up, but I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing minus around 200 for Toronto, plus 160-ish for Arizona, over under of 6. And, pretty much anytime I see anything of a total, Drew, that's not a 6.5 with the Toronto Maple Leafs, you have to be looking over the total. But more importantly, this Arizona team is playing Montreal tonight. They're on a little bit of an East Coast road trip. They're going to be on that second half of their back-to-back. They're a team that I want to be backing an over on that second half of the back-to-back. The fatigue factor, defensive breakdowns, and all that comes into account. But right now, they're facing so many goaltending issues. This is a team at the beginning of the season, Drew, that was actually ranked in the top 5 for as far as depth at the goaltender position. Right now, it's just been injuries left and right. We saw Darcy Kemper, goaltender for Arizona, get injured in warm-ups in the pregame skate. Against Montreal. I think it was actually a morning skate, not even a pregame skate of the game, the morning skate. So that's just a huge hit for that team. And they definitely have some scoring capability these days. And this is a team that hasn't looked great. They've been getting scored on quite a bit by, a few subpar teams. And when they head into play the Toronto Maple Leafs, things are clicking right now. I mean, I used to always talk with the Leafs about how you want to have your top players doing well and your depth. But right now, pretty much all the players, the big name guys, Drew, the guys that are making the big bucks are doing their jobs and they're finding the score sheets. So we're going to go over 6 here in this one. And I'm not really going to touch the side in this one because I haven't really seen how Arizona played tonight against Montreal yet. Obviously, we're recording this on a Monday night. And that's kind of going to influence my wager. Of course, I'm assuming that, that makes sense. So we're going to just go with the total here over 6 in the Leafs and Arizona game.
McInnis, next game up here, we got game number 35-36, 8 p.m. Eastern puck drop. Vegas at Minnesota, seeing a total of 6 with the Golden Knights minus 125 on the road. This is a weird scheduling spot. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to beat the NHL betting markets and know it inside and out. But anytime a West Coast team is on the East Coast for however long the Golden Knights were, it was a long time. They come back home for one game and then head back out. That's weird, man.
It is, yeah. And, for that exact reason is why, on this podcast, we didn't have outstanding results, but one pick we absolutely killed out of the park was the over in that Vegas-Carolina game.
Thank you
6-5 result, and that's they get back. Like I said, they were on the road for so long on the East Coast. They came back, and there was a lot of sloppiness, Drew. But you know what? If you were a Vegas Golden Knights fan, you were treated to a pretty exciting game. It wasn't a result that ended up in their favor. You got to see a close game. And, this is a spot here where I get it. We could definitely, the two of us, you pointed it out yourself, we could make the argument for this being a pretty good spot for Minnesota, playing at home. They're a team that I would say plays way better at home. They're a way different team even on the road. But they just dropped a game against Colorado at home. They didn't really look like themselves. The problem is with this Minnesota team is they don't have the it factor. They don't have that top guy. They don't have, the guy that's going to make that big play. And as much as I'm a big believer as in hockey, you can have 4 or 5 or 6 guys that contribute all together to make that play. But when it comes down to it, the Vegas Golden Knights have 2 lines. Their top 6 players, they're going to produce so much more scoring capability than Minnesota's even can even fathom. They're not going to be able to withstand it. They're not going to be able to keep up with them. And Minnesota's goaltending hasn't been great recently. So I get it. This is a weird scheduling spot for Vegas, but at the same time, they got home, put up a very sloppy game. and they went ahead here, and now they're going back out to Minnesota. I feel like they want to sharpen things up. This could be a quick little game to make up for their last poor performance, and that's why I like Vegas here. I would say, Drew, a pretty cheap price here at around minus 120 with the Vegas Golden Knights here playing the Wild. I mean, let's face it, if this was the Vegas Golden Knights playing at home, this line would be way, probably minus 140, 150, like incredibly different here. We're seeing a total of 6 here. Public's already all over the over here in this one, Drew. I'm going to go ahead with the under here. Minnesota struggling to score. Vegas, like I said, they're coming off that really sloppy game. I think they instantly want to correct the way they played, get back to playing in a better defensive style of hockey. And this is kind of the way they'll do it. And this is a perfect team to correct that against. So 2 plays in this game, actually. The under and the Vegas Golden Knights. I really, really do like this Vegas play. This is just also a value play. These are the type of odds we shouldn't be getting in this matchup, in my opinion.
All right, McInnis, we got 2 games left, guys, and then kind of just open it up here. 8:30 Eastern puck drop in the next one, 37-38, the rotation numbers. Carolina at Dallas Stars, minus 125 at home. Just a 5.5 total here, McInnis.
I'm going to stay away from the total here in this one, although I would possibly lean to the over just with it being a 5.5 and Carolina playing so messy. But Dallas leads the league, Drew, in goals against average. So their goaltenders are shutting teams out. They're playing an outstanding defense. But, every night you wonder who's going to step up for them. They have a couple superstars. We don't always see them come to play. But at home, they will come to play. They will play a strong game. And right now, at this price we're getting versus a Carolina team that's, allowed 5 goals one game, 6 goals another game, 4 goals another. They used to be a very, very consistent defensive team. Right now, we're not seeing that as much, Drew. And this is why I want to go ahead here and back the Dallas Stars at home. 9-2 at home, their last 11 against Carolina. They've played very well against out-of-conference teams. And again, this is a great, great number here. We're talking about an overnight show we're doing here, Drew. I do expect this number to move quite a bit.
All right. He's Andrew McInnis. Follow him on Twitter at McInnis Picks. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. We got 1 game left here, 9 o'clock Eastern tip. Guys, first for reminder, coupon code for this podcast, DM999. That's DM999 at checkout. Get you any handicapper on sportsmemo.com for $1,000 off, 1 year full access. So you can get Andrew McInnis for the next 365 days. Every play he releases in hockey, college basketball, the NBA, all of them, all the way through next year at this time, $1,000 off. Coupon code DM999 at checkout. Unlimited use, good for 48 hours. We got game number 3940 here, McInnis. 9 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Ottawa at Colorado. Avalanche minus 300 favorites. A mile high, 6 in the hook being the total.
Yeah, that's not really a price you want to back, Andrew. I mean, minus close to 300 over that. That's ridiculous. One thing I wanted to point out real quick is that this Ottawa team, for a while, they were scoring. They were a team that was getting beat down by a lot of teams, but they were scoring 3 or 4 in that span. The problem is with them, they get scored on left and right. But recently, they've kind of changed into a little bit more of a defensive team. They've quieted down a little bit, and they've also quieted down their scoring. We've seen, a 2, a 1 spot, a 2 spot again, a 1 spot, a 3 spot, a 2 spot again. I mean, they haven't surpassed 3 goals, in I think like 70% of their games, or over the past, I'd say, 3-4 weeks, Drew. This is a team that's struggling to score now. They've gone through a huge, huge slump. Trend-wise and stats-wise, a lot of people will probably look over the total with this one in Colorado, thinking that Colorado's going to just absolutely destroy them, take them to school. The recent history when these two teams have met, we've seen it over. But I have seen a Colorado team play some great defensive hockey recently. We've seen their goaltenders, both of them, number 1 and number 2, look pretty good recently. And I think that's what separates the boys from the men in the NHL right now, is being able to play a good defensive game, not just having some good scorers. And Colorado has good scorers, but the difference is can they play a good full 60 minutes of defensive hockey in their own end? I think they can. I'm going to stay away from any side here. No value on the side. Going under 6.5, Drew. This would be a big game for Colorado. I'm going to say, I would probably put a little bit of money on the puck line for Colorado. I don't like taking puck lines. There's not really any plus value. But I would say maybe a 3-1 game here for the Colorado Avalanche, 4-1 possibly. I can't see Ottawa competing in this one. I like the under 6.5. 7 goals is far too many.
And you got to think if it's what, just 2-1 with a couple minutes less, isn't Ottawa going to pull their goalie?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they're going to be able to score or get it going. But this is one of those things. I've gotten so many empty net winners, Drew, and I think I've told you about a few of them. But 6.5 is a very high total right now for an Ottawa team, and they continue to get these totals in their games because teams are beating up on them, right? And maybe if this was like Washington or certain teams like that, Calgary even, Pittsburgh, I wouldn't be playing this under. But Colorado seems to me recently, and I could be wrong, but they seem to me, with my instinct, that they've kind of tried to transpire into more of a defensive game. If they go up 2 goals, they will try and protect that lead and play, more of a trap game style. You see it sometimes in the NBA. Some of the best teams in the league are not always covering the spread, and that's kind of the same analogy I'm using here, where just because they're a great team, they might not blow teams' socks off. They're just going to win, and that's what I expect here from Colorado, just a solid win, but they're not going to win by a big margin.
In McInnis, what about it being, a mile high in Colorado? Does that usually help overs or unders with NHL totals betting the elevation, or no impact?
I would say unders personally, unless you've been out there, or the travel spot, how many days you've been out there. But most of the time when you're out there, you've been there for maybe a day or flew in there overnight, get your morning skate in, and all of a sudden you're expected to play a game the next night. You might not have your wind under you, and like I said, I would look to back Colorado here. It's a good spot for them, obviously, but there's no value on either the puck line or the money line. I can't see Ottawa scoring against this team that is playing such good defensive hockey. So, the mile high, I think it takes your breath away. It's one of those things where you're not going to have your footing right away, and that's going to hurt Ottawa because part of their game, Drew, is their speed. They're a very young team. They're in a big rebuild right now. A lot of younger guys in their team, and if that speed's not there for them, I'm not really sure what is.
Okay. Guys, follow him on Twitter at McInnis Picks. Coupon code DM999 at checkout. $1,000 off 1 year. All access. Any handicapper on the board. Sportsmemo.com. McInnis is up 37% return on investment in the NBA since January 31st. Also, plus in NHL, huge year here, McInnis. In the NHL, plus 36% ROI since the start of the season. So hats off to you, man. Is there anything else you wanted to throw out there before we shut this down?
Yeah, once again, Drew, I just, it's just one of those things I just wanted to, say to everybody that I appreciate what they've been doing and checking out all the videos and everything like that. And one more game we have to get to still here, Drew, is the St. Louis and Dallas game, if we can. And I wanted to look at the over in that one. That's kind of the last one, just real quick.
The nightcap, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, the nightcap here. And actually, a quick little note about that, just to go a little bit off topic for a second. I found it so funny when I was in Vegas, seeing you there, Drew, and everybody, how when I got back from the Vegas Golden Knights game, it's like around 9:30 Vegas time. When a Vegas Golden Knights game is over where I'm living right now, it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So like when I got back to my hotel, I'm like, what do I do with myself? Like usually when I'm winding down my night, I'm watching sports. When I'm in Vegas, when I was there, it's like that everything is shut down. There's no more games. There's no D-Gen special at 11 o'clock at night. The D-Gen special is at 9:30.
It's prime time, yeah.
You're looking for like a Hawaii game or something that's still hopefully going to be on. So I thought that was pretty funny that, I'm telling my friends how great it was watching games at 4:30 in the afternoon. But the worst part was they were over by 9. So that to me was pretty funny. But Drew, I think I messed it up on what I send to you, but it's St. Louis and Anaheim tomorrow. That might have been the issue, but
that's fine.
It's
tomorrow. It's the nightcap, man.
Yeah,
people understand.
Okay, St. Louis and Anaheim. Yeah, well, one thing I want to mention with this Anaheim team, which I hope everybody hops on this train. First of all, the first period overs with this Anaheim team. It's been unbelievable. I think at one point it was like 9 straight Then it was like 12 of the last 14. If you're not betting first period overs with Anaheim, you're missing out on a big trend. I'm not really a trend better. I'm not a guy that just hops on these out of nowhere. But when I see something hit at like an 80% clip, I usually get on it. And something is telling me that this is an Anaheim team that has one of the best prospect pools in the entire NHL. They have struggled for so long. More than any other sport, I'd say, Drew. Maybe MLB, maybe baseball, you can kind of classify the same kind of thing. But hockey is a very big sport where you can get drafted to a team and not actually play for that team for several years. There's a league below that, and then a league below that league, and a league below that league. You're trying to work your way up, and all these teams are affiliated with the NHL team. So when a team knows that their team is not going to go far, not going to do really well in the playoffs, not going to make the playoffs, they start calling up these younger guys, or they start signing minimal contracts to these younger guys for them to make a good impression and get some ice time with the pros, with the big league guys. And with Anaheim right now, that's what I'm seeing out of them right now. A good mix of vets and a good mix of younger guys that are finding a way to start games fast and gel together. They're not playing great hockey, but they're impressing me. They're sticking around. They had a close game against Toronto, close game against Montreal, close game against Buffalo. Right now, they're playing in mostly 1 or 2 goal games. Nobody's blowing them out. So I wanted to say that little trend there about Anaheim and how they've impressed me. But another thing that I want to say is they're over. Their team total over, Drew, is usually 2. Has been 2 in most of their games, or 2.5, I guess you would say. For most teams, it's 3.5. And if you look ahead here, their last game against Buffalo, they scored 3 goals. They would have cashed there. Against Toronto, it was 2.5 goals. They scored 4 goals. It would have cashed there. Against Ottawa, it was 2.5 goals. They scored 3 goals. It would have cashed. Against LA, 3 goals. 3 goals against Tampa. 4 goals against Arizona. So they're a total team that I'm looking to back over 2.5. So that's where I'm going to go in this game. I like the full game over, but I really, really like this Anaheim team total over 2.5. St. Louis has been a good team. They're one of the best teams in the whole league. But people think, again, you and I have talked about this before, just because you have good goaltending and you have good defense, it doesn't mean you can't give up a few goals. And right now, Anaheim is certainly shocking a lot of people and showing up to games. And I feel like the general public and probably a lot of people that watch our games don't really care about teams like Anaheim, because people that are hockey fans and they're betting, they want to bet on Washington against Pittsburgh, or your Colorados against Vegas. But you don't have to always make money off those big games. The Duke and UNC games of the world. You can make some mid-major bets, and like that. And the same thing for the NHL. Like, you can profit off the bad teams like Anaheim and different teams like that. And for me right now, I'm looking to bet this team over their team total, because they're still scoring goals whether they're winning or losing.
All right, well said in the nightcap there, McInnis. So 5 games down. Did you want to leave the watchers with a best bet?
Best bet? I know it's not really completely out at most spots right now, but the best bet 100% is going to be over 6 and the Toronto-Arizona game. That one will definitely see some goals there. Most Toronto games are at 6.5. Arizona playing the second half of their back-to-back. Right now, as me and you are recording this, Arizona has seen 3 goals already in the first 10 minutes of their game against Montreal. So I can only imagine how much more messy it's going to be tomorrow night when they play Toronto in the second half of their back-to-back. So there's some live little score update for a game that people are going to already know happened when they see this video tomorrow.
Nice, man. So looking at the over, Arizona-Toronto, top of the card on Tuesday's slate of NHL. For Andrew McInnis, I am Drew Martin. Guys, remember the coupon DM999 at checkout. 1 year all access. Sportsmemo.com. Handicapper, your choice. Best of luck with your bets, guys.